Are some foods disappearing forever? Hey guys, I'm Jara with Wicked Prepared. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving and that your Christmas season is starting off very merry and bright. Today I have another prepper pantry haul to share with you. Before we get started though, I just have to point out something that I've come to realize recently. This is something related to all the shortages that we've been hearing about for the last year or two, but this is something that has crept up on us without even realizing it. Foods have been disappearing off the shelves in a way that we don't even notice. We don't bat an eye at it. The silent victims of the food shortages. The first time I remember seeing this phenomenon, it was with soda or pop or whatever you call it in your area. Soda pop, Coke. You know what I'm talking about. When we first saw shortages in this industry a couple of years ago, it was really shortages of manufacturing materials that was behind it. A shortage of aluminum for the cans mostly. So what we saw was that the manufacturers cut production of the least popular sodas in order to have the resources to keep up with production of the more popular varieties. So if your beverage of choice was, say, Diet Coke or one of the more popular drinks, you may not have even noticed anything was amiss. But talk to someone who drinks a more obscure variety and I can about guarantee you that they noticed. They couldn't find their drink on the shelves. Now I'm noticing the same thing happening with other products, things that I can no longer find. My last haul, I talked about how I can no longer find certain pasta shapes, or I'm having a much harder time finding them. They're not carried in certain brands, for example. And we've heard from viewers who are having the same problem. Certain brands and manufacturers are cutting out certain products, and we may not even notice. I wonder how many foods, beverages, and other items are falling victim to this side effect of the shortages. Because shortages are definitely a problem that is ongoing and will continue to be ongoing for the foreseeable future, whether we notice it right now or not. Between poor harvests, mass culling of livestock, skyrocketing prices of feed and fertilizer, transportation costs, logistics, war and sanctions, and a host of other factors, this is an issue that isn't going away anytime soon. Now, to some degree, what I'm talking about happens all the time, regardless of shortages. Companies do regularly phase out products that are less popular. I'm sure we all have fond memories of products from our childhood that are no more. Leave me a comment down below and tell me a product that you remember from your childhood that is gone from existence. However, I do believe that this goes beyond that. Foods are disappearing from our shelves as companies shrink their offerings as a way to combat raw product shortages. Will we ever come back from this? Who knows? I hope so. It's something to think about, but let me know down in the comments if there are certain varieties of foods, drinks, anything that you're having a hard time finding these days. I don't mean just wide, broad categories. Like I know we've had trouble finding things like cat food in certain areas. Certain things have had shortages in broad categories. I'm talking about those specific varieties that you just can't find anymore. And now let's see what we did find this week to add to our prepper pantry. All right, so here's just a quick overview of everything that we've added to our preps this week. Yeah, you see all that toilet paper popping up there in the background. It's almost like flashback to 2020. But stay tuned and I'll tell you why we got all this toilet paper. I'm going to start over here with some stuff that I got from Amazon. Now you can see I've got a few cases of Campbell's soup. This one down here is a case of the cream of potato. You might remember a little while ago in one of my hauls, I had a case of soup. I was supposed to get cream of potato and they sent me low sodium chicken noodle instead. They've made a lot of mistakes like this on my orders lately. I'm getting a lot of items that aren't what I ordered. Has that been happening to anyone else? Let me know down in the comments if you're seeing that too from Amazon. But this one is to use in recipes mostly, like my meal in a bag that I made recently that was the cheesy wild rice chicken soup. That was in that, and I'd like to put together some more of those, so I did grab a case of that. I've noticed lately that I can get a better deal on Campbell's soups at Amazon in a case usually than I can at Walmart or my grocery store. I know a lot of you guys have better grocery stores than we have around here with better deals, so maybe you can get a better price when you get them on sale at your grocery store, but I've been finding the best deal on Amazon by the case. So I also got a case of this chicken with white and wild rice soup. I had this recommended to me as a really good soup, especially if you're someone who doesn't love canned soup. So this one I got just to eat as soup. My kids really like chicken noodle soup, and I thought they might like the chicken and rice. And I like to have canned chicken soups on hand for like when somebody's sick and they don't feel like eating much else. They'll usually eat those. And that's the same idea with this one here. These are those microwavable, almost sippy cups of soup. I can't remember what they're called, but I like to get those to have on hand when kids are sick. It's easy for them to just sit on the couch or in their bed or whatever and have the cup of soup. This is the chicken with the mini noodles. because that's what they like when they're sick, chicken noodle soup. So I like to put together little sick boxes, I guess is what I would call them, little sick kits for lack of a better term, boxes with everything that I like to have on hand when my kids are sick so that I know that I have them. I don't have to run out to the store. If your family's like my family, people always get sick in the middle of the night or, you know, a time when it's really inconvenient to go to the store. So I like to have things like chicken noodle soup, like crackers, like Gatorade, certain teas that they like to have when they're sick, all that stuff on hand. So I got a case of these, which the case of these soups is 8 in a case. And then some of the next things that I got from Amazon, I got a couple more bottles of this quercetin with bromelain. It has stinging nettle and vitamin C. These are really good for like respiratory illnesses like cold, flu, the other one that we've had going around for a couple of years. They're really good for anti-inflammatory. It's a natural antihistamine. It's good for allergies. It's good for all sorts of things. We used a lot of this last winter and I anticipate us using this a lot this winter. I want to make sure that we have plenty on hand so that we won't run out. And then a couple of seasoning items. This is a French fry salt right here. I just made French fries the other day. I'd only made oven fries in the past, but I had bought myself a deep fryer and I canned up. We got a really good deal on some russet potatoes, so I canned up some French fries and we opened one up to try them and we threw them in the deep fryer and they made the best French fries. Everyone loved them, so I'm going to be doing a lot more of that. So I thought I would get some French fry. This is French fry seasoning to use on our French fries. And then I got a giant bottle of Gravy Master. I always get sucked in by this. I decided I wanted to get some Gravy Master, and of course, you get a lot better deal buying the really big bottle. It's not much more to buy the really big bottle than it is to buy the smaller bottle. So, and I think this stuff will last a very long time. It does have an expiration on it of 2024, but I highly doubt that it's going to go bad. Honestly, by then, I feel like my dad had a bottle of this in his cupboard for years and years. So I got this big bottle of Gravy Master. And then a few of these mouse traps. These are my favorite mouse traps. I feel like you need to have things on hand to deal with pests and bugs and rodents and all those things, especially if you've got a lot of food storage. You need to be proactive about that. And if you were to find yourself in an emergency where you weren't able to get things from the store, you would need to make sure to have plenty of these on hand to deal with them. We live in a very old kind of farmhouse in Maine, and so we do have mice that will come in from time to time. This time of year is a time that they would usually come in, and what I like to do is just keep a couple of traps set all the time with peanut butter on them and just keep them on the floor in our food storage areas. And that way, if mice do happen to get in, I know and I can catch them and nip it in the bud before it becomes a problem. A lot of times you don't realize that you've had mice get in until you go to clean or organize or pull something out and you find droppings or things that have been eaten. And I'd prefer to catch it ahead of time. You wouldn't think we'd have many mice with all the cats that we have in our house. We have a lot of cats, but we tend to keep them out of food storage areas. I don't think that's a great place for animals, so I use the mouse traps instead. And these are cheap enough. It's just over $1 for a pack of 2. I've been getting them a little cheaper from Amazon, I think, than what I am from Walmart when Walmart has them. But they're cheap enough that I feel like if I catch a mouse, I can just pick the whole thing up and throw the whole thing away. Because once it's had a dead mouse on it, I'm done. I'm not going to empty it, reset it. No, I'm going to throw it away. So I try to keep a lot of these on hand, so I grab these pretty frequently through my Amazon Subscribe and Save. And the next thing that I got back here, this is just a new case for my phone, but I put this here to kind of point out that our phone is like really our most important piece of EDC. It's something that everyone pretty much carries every day with you, and it's an important tool. As long as the grid remains active, it's definitely your tool for communication, your tool for navigation. There's all sorts of different tools that you can have on your phone that you can use. Even if the grid is down, there's still things that you can use about your phone, and you could use your camera or your video camera to, you know, take pictures to remember things or to document things. All sorts of things we use our phones for. So this is just replacing my case. I've had this same case for, I don't know, almost a year and a half now, and it kind of got broken. And I love this case enough that I actually bought another one of the same one because mine's just kind of started to break. I love it, number one, because it's pretty and it's pink and sparkly, but really I like the functionality of it. Like, it has this little ring back here, which obviously can open up and work as a stand. It can be like a ring holder. It works with my mount in my car so that it just magnetically holds it on by this. And this was what had broken about my other case. First, the ring lost its tension and it wasn't working as a stand, and then the ring just fell off entirely because obviously it's my phone. I use it every day. It gets pretty beat. But another thing that I like about this case is that this case comes with, well, it comes with this lanyard, but really you could use anything that has one of these little attachment pieces here, and I really like being able to have a strap on my phone. So this case has a spot on the corner right here where you can attach a strap. I like that I can have a lanyard and have it around my neck if I want. I can have it on a wrist strap, anything like that. I like to have options, so that's why I replaced it with the same case. And then next up here, I've got, this is an apple peeler core. I actually do have one of these somewhere. I have no idea what has become of it. My kids really love using it, so that's probably why I can't find it. So I assume that one day I will find it and I'll have two. But they're inexpensive, and I had a lot of apples to process, and so I gave up looking for the one that I had, and I just broke down and bought a new one off of Amazon. If I do find the other one, it's definitely something that I wouldn't mind having two of, because then the kids can help with processing apples and things like that. But it's super handy how it works, because if you've never used one before, it peels it, it cores it, and it slices it into slices as it goes. And it's pretty slick, it works really fast. It suction cups to your counter. It makes kind of like a spiral type of slice, which the kids really like. And you can, if you wanted, you can sort of remove any of these pieces. Like you can take this core slicer part off if you just want to peel, or if you wanted to core it and slice it without peeling it, you could slide this part back. And so it's pretty versatile. I'll put a link to this and everything else that I talk about, of course, down in the description box, like always. And then here I got a couple of big packs of hand warmers and foot warmers. We live in Maine. It gets pretty cold here in the winter, and I like to keep these in a lot of different places. We keep these in our blackout box because we have power outages in the winter sometimes, and it can be pretty cold sitting around the house. I like to keep these in my vehicle emergency kit. If your car breaks down in the winter, these can come in real handy. And we do use these just in everyday life as well. Just like everything else, I like to store what we use and use what we store so that things don't just sit around and go bad. And so we use these for a lot of outdoor activities in the winter. Some of our, late season football games, it can get pretty cold. If you're sitting there watching the football game, we use these, or if the kids are cheering. I've had my daughter be completely plastered when these, they have body warmers, they have foot warmers, all sorts of things you can get. So I got a couple cases of these to just bulk up our supply for the winter. And then that's everything I got from Amazon. This back here is actually, this came from Azure Standard, and it was supposed to be in my last haul, but I just missed this little package, and then I saw it afterwards. I thought, oh shoot. So I'm just bringing this out in this haul. This is something I'd never heard of before. I just stumbled across this, and I said I could really use this. It's like a superfood lion's mane mushroom powder. And it says it's really good for memory, focus, brain type of things, which I could really use the help with. It says it's a brain health superfood that helps support memory, focus, nerve health, creativity, and mood. And I could really use something like that. I'm not really sure how I'll take this yet. It says you can put it in your coffee and in your smoothies. I don't know if it tastes like mushrooms. I love mushrooms. I love the taste of mushrooms, but I probably wouldn't want it in my smoothie or my coffee. So I'm going to have to play with this a little bit. If you've ever taken anything like this, let me know how you take it. I'm sure I could put it in a capsule, but I might try putting it in my tea, where I also put my prebiotic and my collagen and all that other stuff. But I would like to give this a try. They had all sorts of different types of mushrooms that had different health benefits, but this one sounded like the one that was really meant for me. So next I got my latest Thrive Life delivery. I got quite a bit of stuff this time. They do have their Black Friday sale going on, and I love to buy more when it's on sale. So I did get several cans of butter powder. This is something that I use a lot. It's good to have this on hand for emergencies. You can use this like butter. I use this in a lot of my meal in a jar recipes. I use this in a lot of my baking mixes in a jar. Like I've got my Just Add Water cornbread mix and my Just Add Water applesauce muffins, things like that. These are great for that. You can also whip it up into like a butter spread, basically, when I did my cornbread mix, and I will put a link to that video up in the iCards and down in the description box. But when I did that, I also did a honey butter spread that I made with the butter powder and the honey crystals, and it was amazing. And that would honestly be a really great little gift if you wanted to put together, jars of mix like that, and you could put together jars with the butter powder and the honey crystals and make a little gift out of that. But I like to keep these on hand so that no matter what happens, if I don't have access to my refrigerated items and my perishable items, that I'll have things like this available for me. The only thing you really couldn't use the butter powder for is like sauteing in a pan, because it's a powder. But it's really great for a lot of other things. You can even whip it up and make cookies out of it, all sorts of things. And like I said, I did get the honey crystals as well. I got 3 of the butter powder and just 1 of the honey crystals, because the butter powder I use, I think, a lot more of. but we love the honey crystals as well. So I got one of those because these are both on sale. And at least the butter powder, I can't remember about the honey crystals, but at least the butter powder is a limited time item, meaning they don't have it all year round. So I need to stock up on it when it's available. And then I got a couple of the tomato sauce, which this is basically like a powder that makes a spaghetti sauce, like a seasoned spaghetti sauce. It's not just plain tomato sauce, it's seasoned. And I really love the sauces because, number one, they're great for my meals in a jar. They're just dry and powdered and they blend up really well. They don't make clumps or anything like that. They are gluten-free, which I don't have to worry about, but I know a lot of people out there do. Another thing that I love the sauce mixes for, especially this spaghetti sauce one, my son loves spaghetti, and sometimes he'll just make himself, some spaghetti for a snack or just making himself a meal. He'll open up a jar of sauce, have a bowl of spaghetti, and then that jar of sauce gets shoved back in the back of the fridge, and sometimes we forget about it because I don't even sometimes know it's open, and I find it a couple weeks later and it's moldy and it gets thrown away. And that's super wasteful. So I like it with this, we can make just the amount that we need. He can just take a spoonful of this or however much he needs, add some water to this, and have just the amount of sauce that he needs for his spaghetti if it's not like me making a big meal. We just need a little bit. It's the same reason that I get the refried beans, which this is instant refried beans, so it's like a powder sort of granule. I don't know how you would describe it, but you just mix it with water and get refried beans because my daughter loves refried beans. She's one of the only ones in the family who does. I like them, but I don't eat them very much because of the carbs. So if she opens up a can of refried beans, we've got a whole can of refried beans that she has to use up, and I'm just pushing, bean burritos and bean tacos and things on her until it's gone, or else it sits in the fridge and goes moldy. So this way we can just whip up one serving at a time. The rest of it is going to stay good until we need it. So that's another reason that I really love these canned items. And then behind these, I do have some larger cans. These are the family size cans. So these are like gallon cans. The other cans that I showed you are the pantry cans, which are about quart size. Some of these items, I wish they had them in the family cans, like the butter powder, but for whatever reason they don't. So I just buy the smaller cans. If I can get the larger cans, I do. But this is a can of peach slices, and these are all things that are on sale, and they're things that we like and we use a lot of. So peach slices, I got zucchini. I'm going to be using that in some meal in a jar recipes coming up, so keep an eye out for that. Chicken slices. These are the seasoned chicken slices. This is my favorite chicken that they have. It's one of my favorite meats that they have all together. It's very, very good. It's great in recipes. I did get 2 cans of that because it is one of our favorites and one of my most used. And then I grabbed a can of the shrimp because the shrimp is delicious and it's been discontinued. So I'm kind of bummed about that, but as long as they continue to have it before it sells out, I'm going to get it whenever I get a chance. So every time it's on sale, I'm grabbing a can because it's shrimp. So shrimp obviously is expensive. So otherwise, I've been really tempted to grab a whole case, but I haven't. I've just grabbed a can at a time. And then underneath there, we've got the scrambled egg powder. This is something that we use a ton of because we do use it. I do use it in my mixes and my meals in a jar. It's great to have for that, but we also just use it for scrambled eggs, sometimes for breakfast in the morning. We take it camping, but this is another great just sort of baking basic item to have on hand for emergencies when you may not have eggs. Even if you have chickens, sometimes they're not laying or you don't know, what's going to happen to your chickens, obviously. So we do have chickens and ducks, but we still use quite a bit of the scrambled egg powder. So I grabbed a can of this because this is on sale as well. And there are a couple days left of the sale, so I do think I'll probably place another order. I've got to sit down and budget, but they have cheese sauce on sale also, which is another limited time item, and I do use that quite a bit. I use that in my Philly cheesesteak pasta that I did, meal in a jar that I did. So I'm thinking about ordering a case of that and probably some more of some of these items as well. And then the last batch of stuff over here is stuff that I grabbed from Walmart. Now I did get 3 cornstarch. This was supposed to be, well, I was trying to get the Walmart brand, just the Great Value. It's just cornstarch, so I don't really care about the name brand, but they had been out of it and they were out of it for quite a while. So it was only really a few cents extra to get the name brand. So I did get the name brand. It's in a better container anyways. So I use quite a bit of cornstarch for certain things, thickening sauces. One of my family's favorite dishes I make quite a lot is a crock-pot chicken teriyaki. And everybody loves that, and it uses a good amount of cornstarch to thicken the sauce. I also used some coating fried chicken the other night. There's just a lot of things that I use cornstarch for, so I tend to go through it pretty quickly. I thought about trying to buy it in a big bulk bag, but I really wasn't able to find a better price per ounce than I was, just buying the little containers at Walmart. So, and then behind here, I got 4 boxes of the oven ready lasagna. This is something that I use occasionally. It's really meant to just put it completely uncooked into your lasagna, and it'll cook while the lasagna cooks. I think pretty much any lasagna noodle will typically do that, especially if you leave it set overnight. If you put your lasagna together the night before and let it set. I've done that with regular noodles, but these are meant for that purpose. And so I don't know if they're really any better or not, but I do use these whenever a recipe specifically calls for these. So I got 4 more boxes of these because I have been going through and reorganizing and cleaning out our food storage areas and pantries and things, and just kind of really taking inventory and noticing things, certain things that I need more of. And then these are a couple of, they're actually athlete foot treatments, but they really are good to have in your medical supplies for anything that could be caused by a fungal infection. I mean, they can be used for things like ringworm. They can be used for certain rashes, skin rashes and irritations that might be caused by fungal infection. So we're always trying to add different types of supplies to our medical supplies, make sure that we have every base covered and have plenty of things that we use. Sometimes I read something that reminds me about it. Sometimes, we have to use something and I realize we should stock up on more of it. For whatever reason, we're always adding to our medical supplies. So this is what we've added this time, is a couple of different antifungal. One's a cream and one's like a liquid. So, and then right here I've got some cookie mixes, oatmeal cookie mixes. Now, just like the cake mix that I showed in my last haul, when I make cookies from scratch. But I do use these mixes in certain recipes. For example, recently I made these apple streusel cheesecake bars, which were delicious. I had made some homemade apple pie filling and canned it, and I had, just enough left that it didn't quite fill another jar. So I decided to make something out of it. We made these squares. They were really good. It used this cookie mix as an ingredient. So I stocked up on some more of these for things like that. And then this right here is just another box of canning jars. I'm always buying canning jars because we're always using canning jars. I always want to make sure that I have plenty on hand so that if I have anything I need to preserve, I'm ready to go. These are the really tiny 1/4 pint ones. So these are like hold a 1/2 cup. Now this size is not one that I use very often, and so I don't have very many on hand. But the other day I did have something I thought I'd like to preserve in this size. I had some leftover au jus gravy, dip from when I made our French dip crescent ring that we had for dinner. I had a lot of the au jus left and I didn't want to just throw it away or have it go to waste. So I wanted to can it up. I thought, I don't see why I couldn't can this up, and I thought this would be the perfect size. It would almost be like a little serving size, single serving size cup. And I went down cellar and realized that I really didn't have many of these jars at all. Sometimes we'll get jelly from my mother in this size, and if I save those jars and have them left over. But we didn't have much, so I went out and bought a case. I'll probably buy another case because I keep thinking of things that I could put up in this size. And then finally, we've got all this toilet paper. I got 4 of these packs of toilet paper. They're just like Walmart, Great Value brand. Now this toilet paper is the soft and strong, which I really like. It's mega rolls. And the reason that I got so much of this toilet paper is 24 mega rolls. My Walmart only carries 12 and 18 count of these exact same toilet paper, the soft and strong mega rolls. The 18 count is more expensive than the 24 count. I don't know why this is, but I think I paid $15.88 for the 24 count. I can only get it online. I have to buy it online. And it's over $1 more. I think it's 16 something for the 18 count, which I don't understand, but I'm not going to question it. But I decided to buy some more toilet paper, and I keep thinking every time I go look for it, they're going to have raised the price. The price is going to go up. It's going to be more. And it wasn't. It was still the same price. And so what I'm doing lately, because the way prices are going up, it's pretty crazy. So if I find something that is still the same price, the price has not gone up, I am trying to buy, make sure that I buy as much as I can. So I actually did buy 4 packs of this just because it was still the lower price, and I'm hoping that it's gonna stay that way, but I'm gonna buy it as often as I can afford it until the price goes up at least. I don't know why the larger pack is cheaper than the smaller pack, but it is. So I will link this toilet paper down below if anybody else is interested in this toilet paper. I know that sometimes people have other places that they get a good deal on toilet paper. Let me know down in the comments where you get the best deals on toilet paper. I sometimes like to get it at Sam's Club, but I don't get to Sam's Club very often. It's an hour away from me, and I don't think they have free shipping. I don't have the membership that includes the free shipping. So I've been getting this toilet paper from Walmart. We try to keep 6 months of toilet paper on hand at least, preferably more like a year. But I did buy 4 of these because they're still a pretty low price, and I was surprised about that. If I could have afforded to buy more, I probably would have bought more, but 4 was good for now, and I'll add to it as I get a chance. Okay guys, that was our haul this week. I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to thank you as always for spending a little bit of time with me today. We really appreciate you guys. Definitely check in down in the comments. Let me know if you've noticed certain things that have disappeared off the shelves that you're not able to find anymore. This is the land of plenty. If there's one thing that I've noticed, we have viewers from all over the world, and every time someone from another part of the world watches my hauls, they always say how amazed they are at the variety of things that we're able to get here. I hope that never changes. Make sure to check out this playlist up here, and I'll show you some different ways to use some of the foods that I showed you in my haul today. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, leave me a toilet paper emoji down in the comments. I'm Jara with Wicked Prepared. Survive today, thrive tomorrow. We'll see you next time.